What's good, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of The Urban Platform Speaks. Make sure to like, subscribe to the channel as you tune in to check out the content. And with that being said, man, I want to go to now with OKC recently losing to the Spurs in the Emirates tournament or whatever you know they're calling it. With OKC recently losing to the Spurs, people are now saying that the Spurs have shown the blueprint for for how to beat OKC, right? And I'm not sure if I agree with that. I do think that because the Spurs really do match up with them, right? Because of the length and the athleticism that they have on the Spurs. But all teams, most teams in the NBA don't have what the Spurs have. Like you got Wembyama coming off the bench for that game, and Wembyama is what, like 7 feet 4 inches tall, something like that. Most teams don't have a Wemby on their team, right? So, but it was a good game. I just don't think that's going to be the blueprint, right? Everybody not going to be able to match up like what the Spurs did. Now, I think the Houston Rockets match up well with them also because they had the size, the length, and the athleticism too. Also, Houston has Kevin Durant, and I think that Kevin Durant is going to pose problems for them because Kevin Durant will be able to get easy buckets because of his size and his length, right? And as a mid-range scorer, I like Kevin Durant. He can shoot the three. He really, really good 3-point shooter. But mid-range, I think that's his mid-range shot is damn near unstoppable. So that's going to be tough for OKC to get past too. I just didn't like once I seen Houston play this year. I thought that Houston matched up with them very well. Okay, and I was surprised that that the Spurs are as good as they are, but they match up with them very well, right? So that's just two teams, but I think another team that will really give OKC a hard way to go, and people might be surprised, the team out of the East, and that's the Detroit Pistons. Now, and I'm saying that from a defensive standpoint. Detroit, as far as their defense go because I just think they just so tough and so imposing defensively. I think Detroit will really give OKC, they give any team out of the West a hard way to go because of their defense. Um, and so I'm just looking forward to, in my opinion, I'm looking forward to seeing all these teams meet up with each other. OKC, like us, they are the team. They are the team to beat. But there's some teams out there that match up with them. It's just a matter of playing your game. Who is going to, when it get to a point where who's going to impose their will on the next team. On the next team. And I think that, like I said, coming out of that East is going to be the Detroit Pistons. They're going to be the ones who really, I think they're going to be able to challenge them just from a physical standpoint. When you look at how OKC is made up, like those, they don't have any big physical guys like Detroit do. Their guys are, they're more, that not to the point with Detroit. Detroit, like the main scores for OKC, I think is Shea. He's not really a big stout guy. And so a physical, if you play him real physical, that might throw his game off a little bit. Chet Holmgren, another guy who's not really all that physical of a player. So if in a 7-game series, I can see Detroit playing him really physical and wearing him down. So same thing with like Wembyama for the Spurs. I think Detroit is going to pose a problem for them teams coming out of that West. I do. I really do. But early in the season, also, I said when I first saw Houston play, I said Houston is going to be a problem. They are really going to be a problem. Um, so yeah, man, I'm thinking that it's gonna be tough. I'm looking forward to seeing uh if OKC can step their game up though, and just answer these challenges that they're gonna face. In the West, who else can challenge them in the West? I don't think that Denver is really going to, because there's going to be so much on the Joker. Joker need more help. If Denver is like 100% healthy, then yeah, I could throw Denver in there. But if you want you want the Joker to do everything by himself, that's just going to be a he so now. Don't get me wrong. This season so far, he's doing his thing right. Uh, this guy's averaging a triple double, but I think that'd be too much to ask the Joker to do. If he don't have his full complement of help around him, then that's a heavy task. But definitely the Spurs are going to challenge. Definitely Houston is going to challenge. The Lakers, I don't think so, because the Lakers they struggle with length and athleticism anyway, so I don't see the Lakers really challenging. Golden State, can I see Golden State challenging? No. Um, and the reason for that, I think that the small ball era is over with. They had their run. You know, on top of that, they're old. Steph is old, Draymond is old, Jimmy Butler is old, so I don't see them being able to challenge OKC at all. Who else might come out of that West? Um, I mean, I don't really see anybody really. Like I said, just besides the two teams that I mentioned, the Spurs and the Rockets, I think those are the closest teams to be able to challenge. But I mean, this is going to really be exciting to watch, man. It's really going to be exciting because for OKC, it's all about stepping up to every challenge. And so far this season, they've done it. They stepped up to every challenge this year, because every time they go out on the court, by them being the champions, NBA champions, they just getting everybody's best shot every night, night in and night out. Teams don't want to get embarrassed, which is they doing it anyway. They are blowing a lot of blowing a lot of teams out. So like I said, we need to just stay tuned in, man, and just check these. Enjoy this ride. I think the old school style of basketball is coming back. It's just not all about three pointers and dunking. You got teams out there that they utilizing that mid range shot. OKC is utilizing the mid range shot. Um, Even with the Spurs, what I saw from Wimby the last game, like he's starting to play closer to the basket. He's playing more around the basket, which if he wants to have a long NBA career, I think that's what he need to do. He need to stay closer to that basket and be more efficient. All that dribbling and trying to beat somebody off the dribble at 7 feet 5 inches, that's just too much wear and tear on your body. Just go ahead, operate in that paint. Make teams adjust to you when you operate in that paint like that. And I think he has the ability to do that. So if he starts to play around that basket even more, man, this kid is gonna be dangerous. He's gonna be dangerous. Same thing with the kid at OKC, Chet Holmgren. Like they just get injured too much because it's just too much strain on these guys to be trying to come from the top of the key. Um, it's just a lot more wear and tear when you're at 7 feet tall. You trying to dribble the ball through people, and your hips and knees and calf injuries and stuff like that, man. Those guys going to break down if they don't adjust their game to this physical NBA style. That's why I say that Detroit will challenge all of these teams coming out of the West. They will challenge any of these teams in the West because Detroit is just a physical. They're just a physical team, and that's old school basketball. They already calling Detroit. The bad boys, the second generation of the bad boys, because they just a gritty, there's a tough, gritty team. So yeah, man, I this is going to be. I don't know that anybody got the blueprint. I just think that different teams are going to pose different challenges, and it's up to OKC to meet those challenges, basically. So that's all I got to say on it. Make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. Also, don't forget to leave a comment. And with that being said, I'll check you all out in the next video. Peace.